You're watching America Trends. I'm Mary Bergato, and I am grooving to this music right now. It was written and produced and played by Mr. Brad Rambur, our cybersecurity expert. Welcome to our new studio, Brad Rambur. So good to have you here.
Thanks for having me back.
Missed seeing you, missed having you here. What the Tech with Brad Rambur, cybersecurity expert, pilot, all the different things you are. I can't even list them all. There's too many things.
As long as felon isn't on the list.
I don't think that it is, but is it?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay, all right.
Not to my knowledge.
Not yet. Hey.
The day is young.
The day is young. Yes, that's true. Okay, so we have lots of cybersecurity questions for you. However, there's also some trending topics out there that I know that you have some knowledge on. I don't know why I know this, but I know that you know them more than I do. Probably more than our viewers at home. So, the submersible. What happened? The submarine.
Yeah, well, I'm a diver, so they teach you in dive school. The pressure increases dramatically the deeper you go. The Titanic is 2 miles down. And so think about, you take an object and you squeeze it that hard, no matter what it's made of. My understanding also is it wasn't tested in the same way other submersibles might have been, and that was by choice. And it had done it several times.
Wait, what do you mean it was by choice?
The company chose not to test it to a submersible standard. I'm not super familiar with that standard itself, but they didn't do that testing.
Okay.
And they ran it down to the Titanic successfully several times.
That's what I thought. I heard that it was a company that had done this a few times before. I don't know how many, but it had been done before. It wasn't the first launch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to answer submarine questions with airplane stuff.
That's what I figured. I knew that there was some sort of a crossover.
We got to the dive thing. We got to the airplane thing, right? So it's a bit like being a grade C James Bond, right? All the silly stuff.
Yes.
So with airplanes, there is a wear limit on certain parts. How many hours flown, RPM, things like that. So things wear out. Squeezing something is changing its shape, applying that pressure. So it depends on what the material is capable of handling and how many times it's capable of handling it. I think had something to do with why it.
So it imploded.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, which they did not know for a few days, I seem to recall.
Well, I think the U.S. Navy said they heard something that could have sounded like an implosion on Sunday. Now, I don't know when they went down, but my understanding was that was pretty early in the dive phase.
And who was on board?
Oh my gosh, the company president, the executive or the chief exec of an aviation company, very wealthy man, and then a Pakistani British businessman and his 19-year-old son.
I read about that.
What really stuck out to me was that the son took the mother's place because he really
that
wanted
article
to go. And
that was heart-wrenching.
Any of it, right?
Yeah.
But for the grace of goodness, go any of us.
Yeah.
And that's huge. So part of being a pilot is you check things and safety. As a diver, same thing. I didn't train my Cub Scouts to dive in a pool because if you stand up from the bottom of the pool and you're in 4 feet of water, you can get an arterial gas embolism, right? So it's being very safety-minded matters.
Yes.
And so if you're going to go 2 miles underwater, I personally would be looking very, very, very carefully at all of those things.
So the company that owned this contraption and ran these tours to the Titanic, what's going to happen to these folks? There's going to be lawsuits, and I mean, they're done for.
Well, they're speculating on the news now, well, who's paying for the rescue effort?
Right.
The Canadian authorities have boarded or inquired of the vessel, the captain of the vessel that took the submersible out to the site. International maritime law will be applied in all sorts of ways. I'm sure that the families of, whether they signed waivers to negate any risk they took on or not, I'm sure that everybody's going to get scrutinized very carefully here.
Yeah, I mean, when you sign a waiver, gosh, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't be taking the risk to go that far. I cannot even ride the submarine ride at Disneyland. Okay, so I'm not going down that deep.
So snorkeling for you involves like a 2-inch snorkel?
Absolutely, that's it. No, that's not okay with me. I get a little claustrophobic, and
Try being in a 7-mil dive rig with 30 pounds of weight and steel 80 on your back and having to kick out a mile. You can feel pretty squeezed.
I think I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
but is that fine for you? Does that anxiety producing for you, or are you that calm and collected that it's not?
I wouldn't say anxiety, but it's certainly a different sensation. It's not like running around in your gym shoes and t-shirt and shorts, right? So it's a very different thing, and unless you mentally are, okay, this is happening, this is how it might feel, that's necessary to get going. Because all that stuff is a pain in the butt on the surface getting out to the dive site.
Right.
But then when you blow the BC and you go down, and now you're in water and you're neutrally buoyant and you're warm enough because all the water's in the suit and whatnot, you're good. You just got to understand cognitively, you have to make the choice. This is what's necessary to do this thing that is purposeful if I'm trying to find something, or I'm just out looking for fish and enjoying it for entertainment, right? So you got to get through that part in your head.
Snorkeling's not even that fun for me.
It's right
because I'm like, there's some fish. I don't know.
I got
it's not. It's cold.
Yeah.
I'd rather be in this cozy bar.
that isn't moving, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, okay. So now I want to move on to it's a digital themed topic. Let's say.
Yep.
It seems like this world of YouTube influencers, TikTok influencers. It's creating quite a bit of drama on many, many levels. It's dangerous for our kids because we don't know what they're watching. And these people that are starting channels, I believe, they're innocent, and they're kids too. I think they're innocent going in. And this whole world of becoming a star, let's say, a sensation of some sort and going viral, it can really mess with people's heads, the viewers and the actual influencers themselves. And the first subject I wanted to bring up was Colleen Ballinger, and I can't even, Matilda, what's her show name? I don't even remember what it is.
Miranda Sings.
Thanks, Miranda Sings. So I had not heard of this till you sent this to me. She's currently under fire because she started this channel many years ago.
She was a kid herself?
She was a kid herself. Well, she was a
18, 19?
18, 19 maybe. But talking to 13-year-old, 12-year-old boys. And so talk to me about this because there's some issues coming up. And she's under fire right now. She has been for a while, and it's getting worse now.
My point of view. So social media, the devices, that is a way for a human to connect with another human. Well, why should those two humans connect in the first place? And does that make it easier, faster, more salacious? That's where I think the trouble is. I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase, "I'd rather be famous than rich." Right? So is attention your stock in trade? Once you have all that, Madonna kind of said it best, I was good at getting attention. Now that I have it, I had to have something worth saying. So we get that out of sequence. And the devices democratize regular humans' ability to go out and reach out to others and connect.
Right.
But why do they want to connect? So what really troubled me about the article was underage, you're trying to influence others. I mean, the very name of the job, as it were. I use my Austin quotation fingers.
Yeah, air quotes.
So who are you trying to influence? It's like the record companies, they're writing and distributing music back in the 50s, 60s to the teenage audience because we're listening, our nervous systems are forming, and I bet you listen to a lot of the music you were exposed to from 14 to 22. You probably play that a lot because first heard it, you like it, you soak into it.
Formative years, yeah.
Exactly. So it's the same thing. Now everybody can do that with a device, and how do I outreach and how do I interact? And really what it comes down to is I'm looking to produce a transaction. What is the transaction? Is the transaction that you pay attention to me, or is that you pay attention to me so then you like and trust me, then I can sell you something? Or is that I monetize that because you subscribe or like my YouTube channel or whatnot, and you always hear this thing in the YouTube clips. There might be something useful being said in the clip. It might be worth sharing. But then there's okay, look, I took care of you, now this is how you take care of me. Click this thing, and then I get money. Because if I didn't get money, why would I be doing this?
Right.
You get back to that part, right?
And well, a lot of it is the fame and the attention and the dopamine rush that they get every time they get a comment. And they say, I am famous. And these YouTubers that started, I mean, I watched a little bit of her stuff and last night. It's not funny or appealing to me because I'm,
not 13.
Old. Right.
I didn't say that.
But I did. But I'm still in my prime. Thank you very much.
Ma'am.
What was that guy that said that? Don Lemon. Anyway, so it's an interesting thing because, let's say they're these people. And I mean, I was an OG influencer too. And I know that feeling of putting out a blog post or putting out a video and then checking to see how many comments and how many views and how many likes and who's commenting. And it's this world where then the viewers also can get to the person pretty easily. They can comment, they get a reaction, and there's that relationship that develops. But then the person that is the YouTuber, let's say, this viewer holds them to a certain standard, although they are just a Joe Schmo. They are just a regular person.
Well, you're applying your moral construct on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're probably, I'm going to say their intentions are good. I don't know if people go out salaciously in the beginning. I don't know. This is going kind of deep, but.
Well, yeah, well, if we start with good intent, we quickly realize that to continue to transact, our intent might shift. That's a way to think of it.
Intent might shift. Okay, we got to take a break, but I've got a lot more on this subject and some other cybersecurity questions for you. So we're talking to Brad Rambur, cybersecurity expert at our steakhouse set. We'll be right back right after this break.